One of the most frequently asked questions that I get is, Kevin, what kind of CRMs do you use when you're focusing on creative finance transactions, right? So there are literally hundreds of CRMs that people use in the real estate business on the day-to-day basis. But because my business is solely based around creative finance, I need to have a CRM that is specifically built for creative finance, which is the reason why I brought on Gage. He owns Buttonleads, and Buttonleads is a CRM that I use and that I've been using for almost 2 years now. And since I started using Bundleads, I was able to, probably I think Gage. I don't know if you know if you know the numbers, but I in 2023 I did 90 deals using Bundleads, and then I think we're on track to about 43 deals this year, using Bundleads. And every single one of them were creative finance. And I wanted to bring you on here, Gage, because I don't really know how your CR how Bundleads work, even though like my team uses it, I don't know how to use it. So well, can you well first off introduce yourself and kind of like give us background of what the button leads are all about?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Kevin. So in Buttonleads, right, it's a CRM, and like you said, you don't know how to use it, and I don't think anyone on your team really knows what goes on in the back end, and that's sort of the whole point, right? Is you have a team of closers, acquisitions guys, they just work inside of the pipelines, talk to the leads, close the leads, put them in the follow up. That's all they need to focus on. We act as a fractional integrator. So if anyone who doesn't know what an integrator is, it's somebody who does like your backend, like your systems, your list pulling, making sure that you as the visionary have like a direct line of sight where you want to go, and we make it happen. So that's sort of what we do, and
Uh-huh.
that's what we've been doing for the past 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, because I kind of want to talk about the creative side of things because I imagine like the clients that you guys have are they mostly focusing on creative finance, or are they like kind of doing cash deals on the side, or what are they doing?
It's typically 50-50.
Right.
Even the people that are doing creative deals, probably of all those people, about 50% of them are doing some sort of other outreach besides direct to agent low equity. Some do the direct to seller finance list, some just do direct to seller cash. There's a whole multitude of things that you can do, and we just sort of ask them, hey, what list are you going after? And they tell us, and we make it happen.
Perfect, perfect. Well, let's go over if it's possible. Let's go over some of what my CRM looks like if you're able to share it. If not, that's totally fine. But I want people to know what kind of CRMs that what kind of features you guys have that sets you guys apart from all the CRMs out there, or at least like some of it.
I mean, the main point, Kevin, and exactly what you said earlier is that you don't really need to know how a CRM works, how workflows work, how automations work, right? Because we're running that CRM for you in terms of the systems, list pulling, skip tracing, importing, starting campaigns, all that stuff. I'm more than happy to share my screen of your account and sort of what your guys see um, on a day-to-day basis and how they work through it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you guys do so you guys have the CRM. And you guys also pull
Mm-hmm.
the list for your client. So you will go up to your client, say, hey, what kind of list do you want? Say seller finances, no equity list, absentee owners list. You guys will put the list in the market, and you guys will update the list. And all so it's set up where all you have to do is literally just make dial and make the calls.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily like cold calling, but we do like SMS outreach to the list that we pull, right? So we do go out, like you said, like you told us that you wanted like Maricopa County, you wanted like Las Vegas, Florida, Texas, all those counties. We pulled those lists specifically for you, which were direct to seller, creative finance or seller finance, and then the direct to agent low equity, right? So we go out and we pull those lists, we skip trace it, we import it into the CRM, and then we start that cold outreach via SMS. Now, we also have cold callers. So if cold calling is something that you want to do, we do that on top of the SMS. So we always send an SMS, and we always, on top of that, we can do cold calling as well for the outreach.
Okay, so you guys pull the list, and you guys also skip trace the list for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys also, upload it into the CRM so you can either text or or cold call, and you guys would update the list, and you guys have and you guys also have VAs that you guys can your clients can hire to make the cold calls.
Exactly. And when we start those text messages, it's not something that our clients have to do, right? So after we import all those lists, we start the campaigns as well. So for your team, we're starting something every day in the morning at around 8 to 9 a.m. PST time. We start that outreach. Once your people log in, that's when they want us to start those campaigns. So on a daily, we start those campaigns as well. So we're sending them like LOIs for the agents. We're sending them frequently asked questions, and then we're sending them a text message on top of that, um, all through our team. So our team sends that out on the daily for y'all.
Okay, well, let's share my screen so that people can actually see what it is.
This is where your acquisitions guys are all day. Is this pipeline? So this is the low equity creative pipeline.
Okay.
Obviously, we have many pipelines in here, but each pipeline is specific for the type of list that's being outreached to. So the benefit of that, right, is you don't have all your leads into one pipeline. You don't know which one's an agent. You don't know which one's a seller. Maybe you have multiple people on your team, and you have one guy calling sellers, you have one guy calling agents, right? So we keep everything separated so you can have a live look of what's really going on for a specific list. So like I was saying earlier, right, is we pull those lists and we import them. Every time we import a contact or import a list, they show up as opportunities. Here, they have the address and then the owner's name under it. I blurred out the addresses. Um, these are active deals going on, so I didn't want to share that publicly. But what you would see is the address up top and then the person who owns it. You also see who the acquisitions manager is that is currently assigned to that contact. So we know who's calling them.
Okay.
But back to what I was saying is once we import a list, it shows up in this stage here, the very first stage. This just means that they're idle, that we've imported the list, but we haven't started a campaign yet.
So let me get this straight. So use the CRM will pull the list. So I technically don't even need to have prop stream
No,
to
exactly.
pull the list, and I don't need to spend money on exporting the list, and I don't need to spend money on updating the list constantly. And where do you guys get your list? A lot of like prop stream data and also public data, like public records.
We do it all. I think we have currently right now 15 different subscriptions to different softwares to pull lists. I mean, some softwares are great in some markets, some softwares are better than others for different lists. Some
Right.
lists in some markets require completely different softwares. For pre-foreclosures, for example, that is something that we have to get from the county, and we just make sure that the skip tracer that we're using is giving us the best data. So we're doing that by pulling county lists, we're skip tracing them, right, for direct to agent that can either be PropStream or whatever other software that our team is using. We do have a software engineer on the back end who pulls those lists. I think you're familiar with Luis. He's
Yeah.
doing all that. He's doing like quality checks on those lists and making sure that whatever list that you want, that we're using the proper software data to pull that data, that it's effective data and it's actually current and not something from 2 years ago,
Right.
or it's already sold, right? We do a quality check uh, per list to make sure that everything is current and updated.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Let me stop. Where's you stop sharing your screen? So couple of questions that I have because this is something that I'm not involved in my business anymore, so I want to make sure I get this right. So you guys will how often do you guys if somebody wanted to go and start a foreclosure campaign, how often would
Mm-hmm.
you guys update the list? Every week, every 2 weeks, every month?
So we have specific filters that once we start with that list, as this updates, we pull that data. So that could be every day. Like if a new pre-foreclosure shows up every day into that list, we'll export it, we'll skip trace it, we'll import it into their CRM.
Okay. Um, so you guys was and then where do you guys use what do you guys use to skip trace? Is it like multiple sources like you guys use batch skip
Yeah.
tracing and things like that? Okay.
Yeah, like we have like skiptracer.com is one that I know that we use. But same as you, I'm not involved in like the list pulling side of our business, but we do have multitude of skip tracers and list pullers that we combine to make sure that we're pulling the most accurate data.
What kind of list can if I wanted to start something, what kind of list can I pull? I'm sure low equity was one of them. Foreclosure is one of them. We just talked about that. Can we pull like lien absentee owners, like tax lien list? Can we do tax liens?
It's whatever you want. So we're just acting as an integrator. So you tell us what you want. We like what you like. If you like absentee owners, they've owned it for 20 years and it's tax delinquent, we can stack lists as well. So it can be a multitude of different types of filters that you want. You just let us know and we'll go out and we'll pull it and we'll make sure that we're pulling the best data that we can find.
Okay. And you guys will upload it too.
Yeah, so not only do we export it, right? We're also paying for that. We also pay for the skip tracing, and we also take the time to import it and start those campaigns. So not only are you saving money from having to subscribe to all these subscriptions,
Yeah.
and sometimes you may use it one week and sometimes you don't, or you don't know what type of best software you should be using, right? That's our job as an integrator is to figure out where we can get the best data from. So just the time in itself to do those things, we're doing it. Like the time to export it and the time to import it and the time to start a campaign each day, we take that off your plate, right? So all your guys in your team are just focused on calling, following up, closing deals. They don't have to spend 2 to 3 hours a day having to pull these lists, import them, and skip trace them, start those campaigns every day. Some days they forget, right? We make sure that we're doing that on a consistent daily basis.
Okay. So so technically if somebody wanted to say, you know what, I'm gonna go start a wholesale operation like how I have my wholesale operation, somebody can just say, you know what, I'm just gonna, use this CRM and have them take care of all the everything on the back end. And you just hire an acquisitions manager or dispositions manager, just to plug them into CRM. And you don't even really need to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously need somebody in there like talking to the leads. We do have VA lead managers that some of our clients use where we can have a VA that acts as a lead manager. So not only cold calling, but they can follow up with leads, like check in with them. And once they get them to hot, like something that they're ready to close, they can either put their closer on, or we also have an option inside of our menu link where they can access other closers from within the substitute community. One being your acquisitions manager, Ryan Vasquez, who they have direct access to, so they can close it. So theoretically, they don't have to do anything, right?
Okay,
Um,
got it.
but a lot of our clients they do have some sort of team, just like you do, where they have an acquisitions team closing, following up with those leads that we're importing into their or the contacts that we're importing into their system.
How do you compensate the VAs? Do you pay them per like a part of the assignment fee or is it per hour?
So the VAs get paid per subscription, like per month. So are you asking how we pay for them or how you
Like
would pay
if
for
I
them?
like let's just say I'm brand new and I want to start this and I wanted to hire a VA. Like do they get paid do you do I would I pay them hourly or would they get portions of the deal?
So it comes with the subscription. So we get the VAs, we train them on the system, we train them on the 4 pillars, on the specific type of outreach that they're doing. We do all that training, and that comes included in the subscription.
So
So
so I
you're
get
not
I
having to
so I can opt in to have them or not.
you can have them or not, right?
But the cost would be the same?
The cost is not the same.
Okay. Got it. Perfect. And then you guys have LOI Blaster included in the CRM, right?
So we have our own LOI blaster,
Okay.
um, because obviously we have a CRM that can blast out these LOIs. Um, we customize it. We put your name on there. We put your logo. We put your signature. I can
Uh-huh.
show you a real time example of what an LOI might look like. But
Yes.
yeah, we send those out. That's part of the outreach for agents is that LOI, and that's something that we do customize per client. Right? Has their name, has their logo, has their terms that they put in there. It automatically pulls the information from PropStream or whatever software that we're using to get the mortgage rate, all that good stuff. We ex we import it and then we start those campaigns with those LOIs that have been
Can we
customized per client.
can we show them one of the LOIs that my team has sent out and kind of think, just to I want to see what it looks like because I honestly have no clue what it looks like.
So here's one of our blank LOIs. Obviously, once you're in, you're onboarded, we get your logo, your name, all that stuff. It'll be much more colorful. Have your logo, have your real signature here, have a URL to your website. We'll have your name, what your company is, what your phone number is, and then obviously we pull like the loan balance, we just say agent commission plus cash to seller plus uh, uh, plus closing costs, right? Because we don't want to say, hey, we're going to give your client 5 grand. And it turns out they have arrears, the agent holds it against you, right? So the one thing that
Okay.
we are going to, the one thing that you do cover right in a low equity purchase is that mortgage balance.
Got it, guys. I mean, so here's the thing is that you can add your own logo to that on the top left, and then you can add your the like how good the letter of intent is good for like the expiration date on the letter of intent, and
Right.
you can struct you can like customize it however you want, but this is a general um format of the LOIs that you guys will give to your client, and they will kind of arrange the orders around, but if you guys look closely on the purchase price, if you guys look closely on the purchase price, it says loan balance, first mortgage, agent commission, cash to salary, closing costs. Like those are all the fill in the blanks that you guys can do, right? So we say, hey, hey, purchase price will be, loan balance if it's 385,000, it's gonna say purchase price equals 385 plus agent's commission, which will be, and it will do all the calculations and it will fill in the blank for you. And then the deal overview, you can say buyer pays the listing agent commission, and buyer will cover all the closing costs. So it's kind of like an offer. But here's the thing: is like every time you write up an offer, and I've wrote hundreds of offers at this point. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes for me to actually write up an offer for each house. But if you go the route of letter of intent, you can mass produce a letter of intent and you can generate the leads. And whoever respond back to you say yeah, whether they say yes or no, you can hop on a phone call and you get to cherry pick the ones that are kind of hot, right? Yes, you can call every single one of them, cold call them. Yes, you can spend 20 minutes sending out an offer every single day for each offer. But if you do the letter of intent and you mass email list because and you mass email blast it to the real to the listing agents, you're going to be able to get leads quicker and quicker, which will allow you to do more deals. So this is a letter of intent, and then what else? Is there anything else that you want us to, anything else you want to highlight before we possibly come to an end of this Zoom?
Yeah. So two things is one, right, Kevin, is that we actually set up the LOI for them. So they're not having to add their logo, add their signature, right? Like we're doing that for them. And like you said, everything is automated. So that contact, like loan balance, that's automatically inputted into the LOI and we send it. So they never have to touch this thing, right? We're sending it. It automatically puts in the agent's name. It puts who the client's name is, or like I can put like your team's name, and then we automatically send those LOIs out. So they don't ever have to touch it. Another thing is that we have automated contracts as well. So we do have a pipeline stage within that pipeline that I was showing earlier, where if they drop it and to send contract, to automatically send a contract on their behalf. So how we get those contracts, right? Like that is something that you gave us, right? So you gave us a sub two contract, or if it's a state contract, right? We take that contract and then we automate um, like the fill in the blank of those terms, which is automatically inputted when you fill out an opportunity. Um, so from outreach to close, everything can be automated. Obviously, you have to have someone on there who talks on the phone and closes the deal. But any sort of outreach, automation, like contracts, is all automated.
Okay, can we take a look at how to fill in the blank for the contract?
Yeah. Whenever you're filling out the contract details, that is done within the same opportunity that I was showing you earlier of the contact and the property itself. So I just clicked inside the white space of one of these opportunities. Obviously, I have the address blurred again, but I would either go to
Okay.
creative contract terms or cash contract terms. For the creative terms, I fill out the purchase price, arrears, if any, if none, you leave blank, the EMD deposit, special provisions, if any, like the seller keeps a dog, the buyer keeps a chair, whatever it is that it is. Inspection period, closing date. If it's a sub two, you fill out all the P signs. If it's a seller finance, you fill out all the seller finance terms. If it's a hybrid, you do both. Once you have all this stuff filled out, that is going to be automatically inputted into the contract. Now, how do you send it off into the contract, right? So we do have a qualified lead pipeline stage, which I will show you. So inside of this qualified lead pipeline stage, this is kind of where your closers hang out, where the same guys doing the closing, right? But we want to keep all of these qualified leads, potential deals in one pipeline, so we keep stuff organized, right? It's not if you have 4 different pipelines, 4 different lists, and you have 4 different hot leads, you want to keep everything into one pipeline so everything's organized. Um, Once you want to send a contract, right? So I filled out all the information for the sub two terms. All I would do is I'll take that lead, pick it up, and then I would drop it into needs contract, right?
Okay.
When it does that, it takes all the terms from those fields that I filled out inside the opportunity and puts it into a contract.
And then now I would download the contract and I would just email it to the agent. You can so you're selling me you're so to summarize, because here's the thing is that the people that's gonna like if I'm looking at it from an audience perspective, like I don't need to know the nitty gritty at the moment. I just need to know, okay, what can it do and what can it not do. So it can send out the letter of intent, blast it out, and if we agree on the terms, we can send out the contract to the agent. And if the seller or the agent does respond, then they can, then we can set up a system where it automatically notifies the seller and the agent saying, hey, I just wanted to follow up on the contract. It would automatically do that for you, right?
Yes.
I think as someone that has built their own team, right? Like I've built my own team from scratch, multiple different times. I've built, I started my wholesale business 4 years ago, and here's the challenge: is like you have when you really add up to all the subscription, like PropStream is $100, Batch Leads is $100. The subscriptions are like all the subscription itself is probably 400 to $500 that I was spending, and then I actually had to learn how to use the subscriptions, and then at the end of the day, like I'm spending, probably, $500 a month and really and close to 3-4 hours a day just on learning how these softwares work. And as someone that doesn't have much time to build out their own business because they might have a full-time W-2 job or they have limited time and they have kids, I think this is a great opportunity, great option for someone that can say, you know what, I just want to get straight to the point because the setup costs, the cost just the cost of time and the actual financial cost to get the whole campaign launch can really take up a lot of time and money. So if someone wants to start their creative finance journey, right? So like for me, like my business is solely based around creative finance. If somebody's looking to start a creative finance wholesale business, I think this is a great because what they can do is they can just say, hey, can you just set up your CRM? Can you just set up my CRM the way Kevin's is set up, so that you don't need to modify anything, and you can just go straight into it and say, you know what, I'm just gonna copy Kevin's system and just I want to see exactly what Kevin's doing, and possibly even hop on a Zoom call with my team just to kind of walk them through it.
Yeah. So each of our clients get an account manager. That account manager is their direct line of access, right? That account manager is also the one who consults with them. They have a first consulting call. What are you doing? How many people are on your team? Are you doing direct to seller, direct to agent, pre-foreclosures, what markets, right? We take note of that, and then we get that system built for them. And then there's a training call, and that training call is not, how do I set up automations? How do I pull lists? How do I import? How do I start campaigns? We're doing everything for them. It's just how do I use these pipelines? What happens in these stages? How do I call somebody? How do I text somebody? So we do all that training for them or with them, with their account manager. And then we have continuous calls throughout the month. So they can always check in and say, hey, account manager, I have a question about this pipeline stage. I have a question like about this lead, like where do I put them? Stuff like that. Cause like once they're in, there's probably like a couple weeks of a learning curve of working through the system, but that's what their account manager is there for, to train them. So they don't have to call your team and ask them for help. They have their own team here in Buttonleads that they can access and ask them, what do I need to do to use the system, right? Or I brought on this new team member, can you onboard them? So like a lot of our clients, they have like teams, and they'll grow and they'll add new team members, and then we'll train those new team members on exactly what they need to be doing inside of their system.
Oh, and guys, here's the thing: is obviously I've been using this for about a year and a half, almost going into 2 years. So I think what we have going on right now is I think my acquisition manager Ryan does a Zoom every single month for Buttonleads clients and kind of go over like how our system is changing every single on the monthly basis. On top of that, you have other successful clients that you can literally just copy their systems off of. So all right, guys, if you guys are interested in Buttonleads and you want the replica of how I set up my CRM, my CRM is strictly set up for creative finance. I've been building it we've been customizing for the last 2 years, and we have perfected it. So if you guys are interested in my CRM and how our team is set up, use the code creative and they'll give it to you exactly the way I have it set up, and I don't give it to anybody else. So use the code creative and I'll see you there.